This month on Famous Memories, two of the best that ever did it, Nathan Hines and Chris Paterson. Right, we've got 186 caps between us. What about that? Nathan Hines, Chris Paterson. You're of a generation, guys, that you'll have...
That's a good start.
That's a great start. Let me finish. You're of a generation where you will have memories of World Cups before you became professionals. So what are those memories like?
Well, for me, I was a bit of a late starter to rugby, so rugby league was my sport when I was growing up. So I remember '95, and then I was here in Scotland for '99. So I remember that really well. But I remember being out here when Scotland played New Zealand, and Kimmy Murray getting launched halfway across the pitch. But
that's right.
Yeah, and the orange strip.
Orange strip.
The orange strip.
You've got a real one.
Yeah, my first cap was in the orange.
Was it Spain?
No, my second cap was in an orange strip. The first cap was Spain, '99 World Cup. Yeah, I wasn't involved in the match day squad for the New Zealand game, but the orange strip was excellent. But it was meant to have navy blue socks, but the All Blacks obviously played in the black socks, so the kit man got sent out in the morning of the game. I think to the Gyle, to the sports shop in the Gyle, to hoover up 30 pairs of orange socks. So actually, that's where the orange socks came from, the game.
Long time ago, massive as well.
Yeah,
huge.
Yeah, they were.
They doubled your weight when they were
baggy.
Yeah, but they were proper rugby shirts. Yeah. Down to your knees when they got wet.
Mm-hmm. So we are of a generation. You're right, JJ.
Sorry to bring it up. So, how much had the landscape changed in the space of 4 years for Australia in 2003 then?
Well, you can talk about...
Yeah, I only played one game in '99, and I did feel, I was obviously part of the squad, got my first captains involved, but it was all just kind of new, and it was all just, I was part of the squad, but I didn't feel a massive part of the squad, just in my own sense, because I thought, this is amazing, I'm just basically along for the competition winner.
Out of body.
Yeah, I'm the competition winner here. It felt like that. It did.
Got a bike as well.
Yeah,
it's got a t-shirt.
But 2003, like as you say, 4 years of professional had changed massively. But that was my favourite World Cup. I was lucky enough to play in 4. 2003 would be my greatest World Cup memories would be there. The way it was hosted, the way we played. We toured South Africa before, and we kind of really got into this brand of rugby that really suited us. It was quick, offloading, really exciting, and we carried that into World Cup. Yeah, that'd be my favourite memories.
I think for the tournament as well, it was one that sort of
took off.
Yeah, it took off. You had a sport mad, community, nation that were used to going to big events and used to supporting teams. And I think if you look at rugby between '99 and 2003, like it just moved on, completely moved on. Another 4 years more, exposed. The players have 4 more years of being exposed to, training day in, day out with advances in training and it's maybe not the best for to move on where it was a little more free flowing, I suppose, in '99. But we did have a pretty good brand of rugby that we enjoyed playing. I mean, obviously we lost a couple of people on the way in 2003. Andrew Moa, Marty Leslie. We didn't have a very successful game against France in the pool stages when we got
France are good though.
Yeah, we got comprehensively beaten, but it was a bit of a weird World Cup for me being back in Australia where I'd left 4 years earlier. So all my mates kept going, as long as you smash Wendell Sailor, Wendell Sailor, smash him, because he was back in Australia.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and no one liked him back in Australia. So I was like living everyone's dream.
Well,
just
quickly, so going back to Australia, so boy done good here.
I'm not done good. I mean, yeah, they're like, what do you? Didn't you play rugby league?
And now you play Union for Scotland.
Funny story about that, gents. No, yeah, it was good because my family were there. They obviously they came and watched my first cap against New Zealand, but it was a bit different for me really because it was quite familiar for me. Whereas some of the guys in the squad had never been to Australia before, but I was pretty relaxed. Like riding our bikes and clown to training and stuff.
Yeah.
Boys being idiots.
Yeah, we got, because you're there for so long, you get a base. So it was Caloundra, wasn't it?
Yeah, Caloundra, yeah.
Caloundra was the base, and it was self-catering apartments effectively. So it was like almost like a university campus type idea. So
Well, until we got kicked out by the bikies.
Oh yeah, the Hells Angels came and kicked us out, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's another story.
Oh, please.
But, so because you're there for so long, you took over this campus effectively, and the training pitch and the gym were maybe 2-3 miles up the road. So instead of jumping on buses and the amount of time it takes to get back and forth, everybody just got a bike, rented bikes for everybody. So we're all in this campus effectively, living in it was apartments, wasn't it? So
Yeah,
pretty much
so
cooking your own
it's
food, cycling to training, cycling to do extra training whenever you wanted
We
to.
got an allowance for food, didn't we? So we used to
We got
like
a food allowance.
go
and
and
had to go shopping and everything.
yeah. So if we had to go shopping, like be like, okay, I'll cook at the barbecue tonight. So everyone sort of chipped in. It's like having to bring your own meat for a barbecue. That's what we did. It was crazy. That would never happen now.
No. Well, no.
No.
But we were there such a long time. In
Just
terms
great,
of some
'cause
freedom
now,
around hotels.
Now everything is so controlled in terms of
You're not going.
you eat this, you go there, you do this.
Yeah. You
Get off that bike.
That's
Well,
a risk. Yeah. No, but like the sausages and like the stuff, and they just go buy anything and put it on the barbecue. Now it's just all monitored. So.
I mean, it was monitored to a certain extent as well, but there also has to be an element of fun. I mean, you're there that long, everything under total scrutiny just creates divides at times. And you mentioned the bikes. Every team's assigned security as well during the World Cup. So there's a couple of local police with us, and I think we just called them Chief Wiggum and pretended we just kept buying them donuts, didn't we? We were just stereotypical police officers that we thought they were. But they I think on day 2 had come in and said, right lads, everybody's got the bikes, everybody, in the town's quite happy to have you, but if we could stop pulling wheelies up the middle of the high street in the bikes, that'd be... the local newspaper had a picture of one of the lads pulling a wheelie on his bike right up the high street. So it was, we started to enjoy ourselves a bit too much, I think. But all in the good cause.
It's all about balance.
But Australia had won the '99 World Cup, and then obviously coming home and to defend it in their own backyard. That I agree with Hines. The way
Are you going to tell a story before the game?
Which one?
The quarter-final.
Oh, that one. I'll get to that maybe. But like the way
make a note.
the way
Quarter-final, you
Australia, the way Australia ran it was brilliant, and we played the USA on a Monday night in Suncorp in Brisbane, and it was like 50,000 people there. How does that happen? Scotland versus USA, but they'd had marketing campaigns. It's a sport-mad country, but I think that to get some skin in the game, for use a better phrase, that if you live in an odd-numbered house, you'll support Scotland, an even-numbered house, you support Australia. So the community just bought into it, and you had this noise and this racket on a Monday night, 50,000 for a game that very few the fans would have had an affiliation to, but they generated an atmosphere through things like that. It was brilliant. It was really good fun.
Yeah. So opening games against Japan and USA.
Well, Japan and Townsville. Remember Townsville? It was it's tropical, wasn't it? And the fear through all the preparation. All the preparation was like, how are we going to, warm weather training effectively, how are we going to prepare for this tropical heat and this humidity?
I'm not sure we're going to get through all these World Cup.
I know.
No.
The solution was, high tech as it was now, there'd be an oxygen chamber, and there'd be, the solution was we took bikes and rowing machines into the hothouses at Botanical Gardens. So we
that was minging as well.
We had
that must
we
be
trained
disgusting.
we did rowing and cycling basically in the hothouse just to try and replicate the humidity. And then the night we played Japan, it was quite cold.
It was freezing. I wasn't freezing, but it was.
No, but by comparison to a hothouse,
it wasn't as warm as a Botanical.
35 degrees and 90% humidity. It was not. It wasn't.
Expanded tournament at that stage as well, so you had Fiji as well. A win in that one, a narrow win, but playing those island teams, especially in World Cups, they're brilliant, aren't they?
There's a bit of pressure in that game,
Yeah.
There was a little bit of pressure. Yeah, remember Ross Beattie? So Ross Beattie, repeating South House player and playing for a contract in Europe. He's been setting the Super Rugby alight and playing for Auckland. Don't jam in. First thing Beattie does is jam in. He goes around the outside, scores a try, looking from about 80 metres.
Scored 2 wonder. He was a wonder kid, wasn't he? He was just incredible. He was just the star of world rugby, and he scored 2 absolute worldies against us.
A joy to watch them play rugby. Keep not against you.
Kenny Logan, remember Kenny reckoned he won that game because Kenny was on the other wing, and he swapped wings at half time. Simon Daniele, I think, was marking Rapini Southdown. Kenny swapped wings, and Kenny reckoned he spoke him out of it in the second half. He just shouted and spoke to him the whole time. He said, "I put him off." But I think Rapini Southdown was just tired.
He was knackered.
Kenny claimed he'd turned the game because his speech play put him off.
Well, we spoke about this actually earlier because that game we nearly lost. But during the game, we were saying we never thought we were going to lose that game. Even during the game, we were behind, and there was only a couple of minutes to go, and we were still behind. And then we sort of scored a short range try to win.
You were close to that, huh?
Well, I think it was like Tom Smith
scored.
Tommy scored, yeah.
You try and rip the ball at his hands, no?
100%, yeah. It's going for the first try.
That was to draw it level.
Yeah, and then but.
Of course, points to win it because it was 22-20.
Yeah, it was 20-all.
What are those moments like?
And it was like, because at that point Scotland had never failed to reach the quarterfinals, and this was.
We were saving that one for later.
And we were saving that for 2011.
Yeah.
And like Fiji their individuals as always were incredible. They're the world's best player, and I mean it was a real challenge, and it was baking hot. It was Sydney Football Stadium. It was baking hot. And I guess it was Nathan. We didn't really feel as if we were going to lose it, but I don't think we were ever ahead in the game, though.
No, I don't think we
were ever ahead
at all.
And it got to 20-all.
I don't know if that's foolish or what, but.
And I can remember the things go through your head when you line up goal kicks, because it was like a kick you had to win the game effectively.
Yeah, unimaginable.
And it's weird, like trying to think back to the driver for it. All I could think was, I really have to kick this because I can't be bothered with extra time. It was that hot. I was like, all right, I really have to focus here because I'm not sure I can do another 20 minutes in extra time. But as it turned out, I think kicked it 1:22:20, but I think we'd have qualified anyway on number of tries scored or something like that. But it's funny what you find to motivate it rather than just. I hope I get this. Process. The thing that was in the back of my mind most prevalent at that point was, let's concentrate because I can't be bothered doing another 20 minutes.
I'm sure the rest of the team were thinking that. You better get this over because I'm done.
It's tough.
Quarter-final against Australia. Let's say 4 years ago, you'd left home. Here you are back.
Yeah. Oh, Eddie was coaching, wasn't he?
Eddie Jones.
Yeah. So he was. He said, "Oh mate, I've seen Scotland no chance of winning this game. All they're going to do is fight." I've seen them at training. They go, and no, he goes, "All they're going to do is fight us." So I was on the press conference, obviously. I'm like, "Mate, you must have been seeing us down at training. That's all we've been doing is boxing each other." Mate, because he started then, didn't he? All that rubbish.
The mind games. The media.
But yeah, well, it didn't start well, really, for you, to be fair. And he was started and it didn't go well.
No, I got a stray ball to the side of the head in the warm-up. You have to be careful, you have to be careful speaking about these things in this day and age. But yeah, I got stunned in the warm-up with a stray ball and I couldn't get up. I was fine, I felt fine and just couldn't get up. It was immediate, like, literally the rest of the team were in...
You're playing 10 now?
Yeah, I was playing 10. The team were leaving the field, and at the end of every warm-up, I'd always take 2 kicks at goal. 2 balls, nobody kicked them back, so if you kicked them, fine. If you missed it, then tough. Like, there was trying to replicate the consequence you'd have the next time you took a kick. So it'd always be 40 metres out, take 2 kicks, and you'd have to find that process. And I kicked one, and as I put the ball in the tee, the second one, somebody, Ben Henschel, who it was one of the squad members, kicked the ball back from, I don't know where, and I never saw it coming. It clattered him on the side of the face and he fell back. And that was pretty stunned.
Not ideal.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. I couldn't get up. And then Gregor Townsend, who's now head coach, he was running off the field and he thought I was mucking about. So he had a water bottle and squished it in my face. Kenny laughing. And James Robson also, who's still match doctor, he came running over and told Gregor where to go. And so he saw the whole thing. So it took a couple of minutes to get to my feet, but got up. It was all right. Got on with it.
France 07 after that. Playing rugby in France. I mean, you've done it throughout your career as well, but it's a bit different, isn't it? I mean, the crowds there are wild. It's a great country to host a World Cup.
Yeah. So what was that? So 07, went to Perpignan in 05, so I could pretend to speak some lingo.
You were the liaison man for us, mate.
Wow.
Hines was a go-to for...
Yeah.
Well, it's only because it's
Uwe Bibliotech.
Uwe Le Chunk. That's what ended up being.
Where's the chunk?
Yeah, where's the chunk? Well, before he
got
pulled his
injured the
calf,
first game,
did his calf. But we were staying at Saint-Etienne, and which is a football town, really. And even then, people came out and supported us. I mean, one thing they do love is their rugby in France.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're in the wrong team, they let you know about it. But yeah, it's amazing. I think, again, like Australia, it's a public that's well versed in going to big sporting events, really loves their rugby, really gets behind it, and yeah, it was another really good World Cup. Well, that was where we were staying in dorms, that one.
Yeah.
Staying in
Saint-Etienne,
Yeah.
The dormitories. It works well because you're so long in hotels. Like, it gives you some freedom, doesn't it? Remember, let me say that about Chunk. Where was the Chunk? Alan Jacobson, poor soul. He got called out to the World Cup in 2003. In the final week, somebody got injured, and then he was kind of one that made starters in 2007. But he pulled his calf badly in the first game against
Portugal. Yeah.
And then that phrase came about because he was replaced. It's brutal. As soon as you're injured, or if you're left, you're out. That's it.
Really?
Basically, got hours to pack your bag or like kick off at whatever it was at night.
Next
game morning.
Couldn't even carry his bag.
No, nothing. But I mean, you're gone. You're out. You're set. Somebody else is coming back. There's no kind of stand-down period. That's it. Like, so by 8 o'clock next day morning, he's heading the flight. Well, should have been heading the flight home, but really, Chunk it took a while to get home. I think he went on a solo tour.
He thought, well, while he's in France, he may as well go out and see a couple of sites. So he did. Yeah.
See the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
I ended up in about 3 or 4 different European countries just to get home. So he was that disappointed. He just took basically a Euro train card. And, I mean, it just took him just because he was so disappointed.
But he would have expected, he'd booked his time off till later in the month.
Well, it was a bit later home than I thought, I think. But yeah. So,
2011, New Zealand, back where it all began. What was that like to embark on?
It was a pretty rubbish start. We had a room together.
Had to put up with each other for free.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right. Tell me more about that.
In Invercargill. I think it's because no one else would have us. We were the oldest and grumpiest.
Yeah, and just to tend to the chocolate stuff that no one else laughed at.
It would be really immature but old and grumpy at the same time, and there'd be a whole host of new
lethal combination.
There'd be a whole host of new breed players that probably didn't quite understand us or want to share time with, so we got along together.
I was trying to tell everyone to be tidy and have standards, and at the same time mucking about, but so there's a bit of an enigma for everybody.
Okay,
Yeah.
So it's probably to save everybody else that we had to put up with each other.
Yeah.
Invercargill, we were pretty remote for 12 or 13 days.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. We made our own fun anyway, didn't we? Mm-hmm. But the weather was awful.
2 games, Romania and Georgia, wasn't it? The games that are perceived to be the ones you win early on, they're never like that. Like, it's such an honour, it's such a massive occasion for anybody to play at a World Cup.
Yeah.
And the teams that maybe are lower ranked than you in the world rankings, it's a level playing field when it's round one. When you get to maybe 4 games in, and maybe there's 1 or 2 injuries and fatigue and whatever, but like that first opening game for anybody it's a lottery. We'll see it this time as well. We'll see results you don't expect, especially in the start, because it's so emotional and powerful to be involved in. And I think that's why you get some results you don't expect in the early stages.
Yeah. What is it like playing England in a World Cup? The old enemy. What's that like? You
mentioned support before. And that was a classic example of basically everybody supporting Scotland. I remember getting the bus we stayed right in the city centre in Auckland, and like, basically, and Eden Park's quite a way out, isn't it? And it was just lined with people supporting Scotland. There's not that many Scottish people in New Zealand. So it was like, you felt, again, this responsibility a wee bit, that here you go. But yeah, it was... Again, it was quite a dull game, though, wasn't it? There was so much riding.
Because I was on the bench, I think.
You were on the bench.
Yeah.
Did you get on?
Bring the flair.
Must have got on.
I got on, yeah. My last game as well.
My last game as
well. Your last game?
My last game, yeah. And Robbo asked me kindly not to tell anybody it was my last game until after it was my last game. So a couple of the boys knew, like Moss knew and stuff. But it was quite emotional because I didn't want to be the first team not to progress into the quarters, and you don't. I felt like I definitely had more in me to play for Scotland, but I was moving back to France. I was trying to have some more kids, and it was just going to be, you know, the decision really just to park international rugby for a little bit. So, yeah, it
It's
was
my last cap as well.
well,
That was my last cap as well.
You didn't know at the time?
Yeah, I had an idea.
Okay.
I had an
But you
idea.
hadn't announced it? Or
No,
anything,
we weren't
what I
allowed
mean.
to announce anything like that.
Yeah.
Just out of respect for the rest of the squad.
Yeah.
And
I thought you were going to play Six Nations after.
I was going to, and then that night, I remember lying, and I was in a room in my own, because I think even you'd been sick of me by that point. So I was in a room in my own in Auckland. And I just lay there, I couldn't sleep a wink. I was gutted. My neck was totally goosed, I couldn't turn over. My shoulder was hurting, my hip was gone. I was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Yeah. And then there was 3 flights home the next 3 consecutive days, wasn't it? Like, so there was an early flight, a medium flight, and a later flight, and it was like, I had kids by that point as well, and you wanted to get home, you'd away for so long. And I remember lying there, and I was like, I can't get on that first flight, I quite want to get home, you know, but I can't actually physically lift up a bag and get myself to the airport to get it, so I got the second, I think, one the day after or something. So the seeds of doubt were beginning to come in there. Yeah. Like, oh, really? And yeah, just a few weeks later, that was it. I thought, that's it. So yeah, both are the last cap.
Well, thank you very much, guys. You know, what a pleasure.
Really?
Well, your folksy wisdom. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, we can't really tell you much what happened in the room in Chicago, but
No.
you know,
That's
because nothing
that's
actually
for
happened.
turn the cameras off.
That's because the thing is, because actually nothing happened. We just lied there and sort of like told really bad jokes. That was it.
Brilliant. Cheers.